Hi all, welcome to JD's channel. Today we can discuss about software testing, introduction to software testing, what is meant by validation and verification, and what are the major losses that occurred due to lack of software testing, and what is the dichotomies in software testing. So these are the things we are going to see about in this class. Now, the first, the definition. What is the definition for software testing? Here we can see the testing is a process to evaluate the functionality of a software application with an intent to find whether the developed software met the specified requirements or not, and to identify the defects to ensure that the product is defect free in order to produce a quality product. Means whether the particular product which is developed by the software developers, it is working correctly or not, that must be checked by the software testers. That process is called as the software testing. In that process, the software testers are going to find the different types of bugs, errors, defects, faults, errors, all these things. Next, here in this, testing definition, here one more definition is given on testing. Here the testing means a process of analyzing the item to detect the differences between the uh, existing and required conditions, and to evaluate the features in the software item. Features of software item. So who does testing? The following professionals are involved in testing a software. The following professionals are involved in testing a system within their respective capacities. The who are the persons involved in this software testing? Means software tester. Nothing but here I can annotate this software tester. The persons who are involved in software testing. Who does testing? It is nothing but the software tester. Obviously, we know that software developer. Sometimes he is also going to involved in this software testing. Project leader, after developing the entire project, he has to see whether it is working correctly or not. Project leader and end user. So ultimately, the end user is the final software tester. So these are the people generally involved in software testing. Yeah, software testing can be divided into two steps. The two steps are verification and validation. It means, are we building the product right? The validation means, it means, are we building the right product? Verification means, are we building the right product right? Validation means, are we building the right product? How these two, what is the difference between these two? We can see in a key differences here, the key differences are explained in this slide. Here there are six aspects we can see according to verification and validation. The verification side, here the purpose of verification is to ensure the product is built correctly as per the specifications, whatever the standards you define, and whatever the particular instructions you have been given to develop a product. According to that, is it built correctly or not? That is a verification. And the validation means to ensure the right product is built. Means a meeting, is it meeting or meets the user requirement? user requirements or user needs is it meeting. So if we need to check, that is the validation. I think, but it is verification means, for example, if there is a bike, the bike must be built with different types of parts. We need to assemble all parts to get a bike. Means the all the bike parts we are connecting with each other according to some rules and regulations which is defined in the document. So that is verification. So according to the rules given or standards which are given or design which is given, based on that we need to work on it and we need to assemble all the parts of the system of the bike. And after connecting all the components of the bike, whether it is working correctly or not, we need to start the bike and we need to accelerate the bike, whether it is moving forward or not, we need to check. So according to the user's requirement or whether it is meets the user needs or not, we need to check, that is validation. And next aspect is focus. So focus means on which are the things we need to focus on verification. In the verification, we need to focus on design specifications and standards. And in the validation, we need to focus on user expectations and requirements. And methods in the aspect side, the methods, what are the methods generally happen in the verification? In the verification, the reviews, inspections, static testing, all are happens in the verification. And in the validation, the dynamic testing and functional testing will happen. Means in the methods in the verification, static testing is there. Static testing means no code execution, means only the code we have been written, we need to check all the code is correctly written or not. That is static testing. In the validation testing, it is executing the program, executing the project, executing the code. So that is validation. Next, here performed by, who performs this verification, who performs validation. Who performs verification means the developers, the who are involved in this verification means developers, testers, and project leaders. Only internal people of the company can involved in this verification. And in the validation, testers, end users, and stakeholders, inside internal and the external people can involved in this validation step. And next is stage. In what stage generally verification can occur, or in the what stage the validation can occur? The stage the verification can occur at the early stages of development. It is ongoing, early stages of development. In the validation, later stages of development, before final release, before going to release a product, we need to have a validation step. So these are the most important key differences. And finally, we can see the example. The example here, the verification ensures that login screen matches the design document or not. And the validation means ensuring that login screen works as intended for real users or not. So we need to check the verification and validation like this. And what are the major losses that occurred due to lack of software testing in a different areas and in the different during the different times? Here in the 1985, Canada's Therac 25 radiation therapy malfunctioned due to software bug and resulted in lethal radiation doses to patients, leaving three injured and three people dead. So that is a incident happened in the medical side. And in the 1984, China Airlines Airbus A300 crashed due to a software bug, killing 264 people. Is a major loss due to lack of testing in the software. 264 people died. And in the year of 1996, a software bug caused US bank accounts of 823 customers to be credited with 920 billion US dollars. In the 1999, a software bug caused the failure of 1.2 billion military satellite launch. And 2015, a software bug in fighter plane F-35 resulted in making it unable to detect targets correctly. And 2015, the Bloomberg terminal in London crashed due to software bug affecting 3 lakh traders on the financial market and forcing the government to postpone the £3 billion debt sale. So these are the major losses that occurred due to lack of software testing. So that we need software testing because we need to avoid some consequences due to lack of testing. So next, dichotomies we need to see dichotomies in testing. Dichotomies in software testing means the terms, two terms, the opposite terms, the opposite terms and their approaches and perspectives in software testing we are going to see in dichotomies. Here, the different dichotomies we need to check, see here in this. There are 8 types of dichotomies in software testing we are going to see. One is manual testing versus automated testing, the first one. The manual testing means manually we are going to check or manually we are going to test the code or test cases. So that is that will take more time. So here the opposite to manual testing, automated testing is there. In the automated testing, here it involves tools and scripts. It involves tools and scripts. Here, how it is means the Selenium script is available. It is a more popular script that is the Selenium script that can internally we can put in a software. It frequently checks when you modify the project. So manual testing means when the tester manually interacts with an application to check if it's working correctly as expected. So imagine testing a e-commerce website. Here you would log in, click on buttons and navigate through the website yourself to see if everything is working correctly or not. Means whatever the links, buttons, checkout process are built are working correctly or not, we need to see. Automated testing means, on the other hand, uses scripts or tools to run tests automatically. For example, instead of clicking through the website yourself, you can write a Selenium script that automatically tests the login functionality every time there is a code update. It saves a lot of time, especially when the website changes frequently. And second type of testing is black box testing and white box testing. Black box testing focuses on testing the functionality of software without knowing its internal structure. Means one object kept inside a box, black box, you don't know, we cannot identify or we can we are not going to find what inside the black box. Means we are only focusing on the functionality of the software, what the code inside the software product. But coming to, well, white box testing involves testing based on knowledge of the internal code and structure. Whatever the code you have been, or whatever the encryption algorithm. For example, coming to online banking, you might check the encryption algorithm to ensure it's secure by looking directly at the code. You are not just testing the interface, but also the internal structure of the system you are checking. That is white box testing. Whether it is working correctly according to your code, we need to check because you know the code. So in the black box testing, we doesn't know the code, so that it is called as a black box. And functional testing and non-functional testing. Functional testing checks if the software functions correctly according to its specifications. while non-functional testing evaluates aspects like performance, usability, and security. So, in the functional testing focuses on whether the specific functions or features work as expected. Let's say we are testing a social media site user registration. We want to make sure that when users sign up, they can enter a valid email and the system sends a confirmation message or not. So all these working correctly or not as per the requirement of the user, it is functioning correctly or not. That is functional testing. And coming to non-functional is more about performance security or other quality aspects. Using the social media site, same, we might check how it performs under heavy traffic. If more number of users are using or accessing the same social media at the same time, how it is responding, whether its performance is degrading or it is working as usual in a very high speeds or not, we need to check. That is a non-functional testing. It is more about it is quality. It represents the quality of the system. Next one is static testing, dynamic testing. As we know that static testing means just we need to see without executing the code, we need to see whether the code or documented code written correctly or not. So static testing involves a reviewing the documentation, code, and requirements without executing the program, while dynamic testing involves executing the program's code. So in the static testing is all about reviewing the code or documentation without executing the program. And the dynamic testing, on the other hand, involves actually running the software. For example, you open the app, add items to the shopping cart, and check if everything works in real time. You are simulating what an actual user would do. Means that is dynamic testing. You are executing the program. In the static testing, just you are checking the lines or whatever the code you have been written, that lines you are checking line by line. That is the static testing. Next, regression testing. You can see the regression testing and retesting. Regression testing happens when you update or change a part of your software, and you need to make sure the new changes have not broken existing features. For instance, after updating the shopping cart feature in an app, you need to ensure that the order placement and payment system will still working properly. Means if you are changing any changes in the single module of a system, it is not going to uh, affect other modules of the system. Retesting means what? The retesting is more specific. Let's say a bug in the add to cart feature was found and fixed. Now you will retest only that feature to make sure the bug is completely fixed. We need to check only that module where you are fixing the bugs. That module only you are retesting. That is called retesting. Next, positive testing versus negative testing. Positive testing checks if the system behaves as expected with valid inputs, while negative testing test the test system's ability to handle invalid inputs and unexpected behavior. Means the positive testing means after developing the project, here we need to give the valid inputs. For example, if the system requires username and password, we need to see is it allowing the username and password correctly or not. After entering username and password, it is working, or we can able to enter into that app or not. We need to check. For example, consider that, assume that there is a banking app you have been developed. In that username password you are entering. After entering the password and username, it is accepting, or it is allowing to enter into that banking application or not. We need to check. That is positive testing. If you see negative testing, If you enter wrong password and wrong username, we need to check after entering wrong password and wrong username at the specific app. It has to give the error message to the user. You have entered the wrong username and password. That is the negative testing. We need to check that this is also in this. And next type of testing is alpha testing and beta testing. Alpha testing is conducted by internal teams before the software is released to the public, while beta testing involves releasing the software to a limited group of external users for real world testing. Here, alpha testing is done in-house by software company before the product is released to the public. For example, the internal team at a company tests a new mobile game to catch bugs and usability issues before releasing it. Means only the internal people involved in this type of testing, in the alpha testing. While coming to beta testing, involves releasing the product to a small group of real users to gather feedback. The same mobile game might be released in a beta version to a limited number of players to see how it performs in the real world. Users and stakeholders can involve in this beta testing. Only external people means only some part of the people can involve in this beta testing. Next one is sanity testing and smoke testing. Sanity testing is whether the software is stable enough for further testing, while smoke testing verifies if the critical functionalities of the software work without encountering critical errors. Here, sanity testing is like a quick check after minor updates. Suppose the flight booking system gets a small update or bug fix. You will run a sanity check to see if those changes are working properly without doing a full test of the whole system. You have to check only that module where you have fixed the bugs. So that after that, is it working that particular module correctly or not? You need to check. That is sanity testing. Smoke testing is done after a new build is created. It's like a quick health check to ensure that major functionalities like flight search, booking, and payment are working before you dive deeper into testing the details. So all these are dichotomies in software testing. Yes, here we completed in the today's class. Until now, we discussed what is meant by testing, who involved in testing, what is meant by validation and verification, because these two are the major steps in the involved in the software testing. And after that, what are the losses that occurred due to what are the consequences or losses that occurred due to lack of software testing? Also, we discussed and dichotomies in testing, the opposite phases of testing, and what are the meanings and their examples we discussed. Thank you.